Reducing rational expressions. How can we simplify this equation? Well, at first look, they're not the same, because x minus y and y minus x are two completely different things. But we can work a little bit of mathematical magic and reduce this equation, this expression. How do we do that? Let's look at that very top one. I'm just going to do it off to the side here. What would happen if I took a negative 1 out of it? If I take a negative 1 out of x, I end up with negative x. If I take a negative 1 out of negative y, I get positive y. Now let's switch the order around of the last two. I'm going to have y, negative x. Oh, this is starting to look a little familiar. So I'm now going to take what I've got right here, and I'll put it in for the top. So I now have negative 1 times y minus x all over y minus x. I now have something I can cancel. I can cancel this y minus x off the bottom and the y minus x on the top, and all I'm left with is minus 1. You do still need to state your restrictions. But I'm going to cover that in another video. That'll be a next video. Let's do another example here before we get to the restrictions. Here's another example. P minus Q and Q minus P. Or P minus Q to the power of 4 over Q minus P to the power of 4. Once again, we have the opposites of each other. So with work our mathematical magic, we can change them or one of them around. But that power of 4, this power of 4, or this power of 3 changes things around. So I'm going to change both around, even though you know you'd only have to do one of them. So let's do the top first. I'm going to do the top in red. P minus Q to the power of 4. Excuse my funny looking Q. Well, I'm going to take all of that, and I'm just going to leave that power of 4 on the outside. On the inside, I'm going to take a minus 1 out. I still have that P becomes negative P. That negative Q becomes a positive Q. So writing this down again, I have to remember that this 4 is now going to apply to the negative 1 and to the P and Q. So I can write that out again as negative 1 to the power of 4. I'm going to reverse the P and Q. Q minus P to the power of 4. Now, negative 1 to an even power will always just be 1, because you've got 4 negatives that multiply out together, and all I'm left with is 1. So that is just, if this part here ends up just being a 1, I don't even have to write it down. So all I'm left with at the end is Q minus P to the power of 4. So even powers, I can just switch them around. You have to understand the reason why you're doing it, but you can do it. It gets a little trickier. Oh, that's 4. When I do a Q minus P, I'm going to have to do this quickly because I'm running out of time. Q minus P, this is to the power of 3. Putting my 3 on the outside again, I end up with minus 1 P minus Q. Minus 1 cubed is going to be a minus 10 to the minus, which is a positive. That's going to give me a